Good evening and welcome to NTV Weekend Edition on this 16th day of February 2024. I hope your day has been great. We have a lot of quality content for you on this broadcast and in the rest of our broadcasting. Have yourselves a great experience. We begin with the highlights.
Tonight, it's a matter of when, not if. Haiti deployment preparations in advanced stage. We reveal details of a high-level 3-day meeting in Washington, D.C. Also tonight, who is fooling whom? DPP and EACC clash in court over application to withdraw a corruption case. Court rides on public interests. Plus,
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party endorses Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga EGH for chairperson of the African Union AU Commission.
No longer a secret. The inside story of meetings that saw Raila Odinga throw in the towel for the AU Commission job. And
if we disposed the dog before the children saw, it would have been a bit hard for them. So we waited for them to come from school. They said their goodbyes. How
do you dispose the carcass of your pet? Well, you can take them to a funeral home and give them a decent send-off. We tell you how on This Is Life.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Dan Mwangi.
And alongside me on this flight of NTV Weekend Edition is David Agondoa on the sign language interpretation. Now, government officials from Kenya, Haiti, and the United States have held secret meetings over the deployment of Kenyan police officers to Haiti. Among the issues discussed during the meetings are the concept of operations of the mission and logistics, and this is despite a court order halting the deployment process on grounds of legality, bringing to the fore concerns about the executive's disobedience of court orders. And as Martin Mwangi reports, it was during the 3-day DC meeting that a senior Kenyan police officer was found dead in his room.
A delegation from Kenya led by the former Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet, who currently serves as the Deputy National Security Advisor, met with Haitian and US officials in Washington for 3 days on February 12th, 13th and 14th to discuss critical details surrounding the deployment of Kenyan police officers to the Caribbean nation. NTV has learned that during the meeting, a memorandum of understanding was drafted, and within it included a deadline when the officers from Kenya expect to arrive in Haiti. However, by the time the meeting concluded, the parties had not finalized on the exact date when the officers will be leaving Kenya. The Kenyan team committed to communicate next week the exact date when the officers will be leaving the country. Equally, during the meetings, they also discussed issues of logistics on how Kenyan officers will be able to move from one point to the other during their time in Haiti. Compliance, surveillance, required equipment, operations and human rights issues which have been raised against the Kenyan police in regards to how they handled the 2023 anti-government protests were other topics of discussion. It is during the meeting that Walter Nyakeya Nyamato, a senior officer who served as the personal assistant PA to Deputy Inspector General Noor Gabu, was found dead inside a hotel room located in Washington, D.C. The cause of death is yet to be made public. The High Court blocked the government from deploying police officers to fight gangs in Haiti. The court termed the deployment unconstitutional as the National Security Council lacks the legal authority to send police outside Kenya. A statement by Haitian government said a final decision on the MOU would be arrived at early next week, as well as signatures by both parties.
Fight the gangs.
Martin Mwangi, NTV.
Now, the Judicial Service Commission has condemned the attack on lawyers protesting against the disregard of court orders in Nakuru. In a statement, the president of the Judicial Service Commission, that's Chief Justice Martha Koome, said the rule of law is crucial in the functioning of democracy and called for a strict adherence to the Constitution. The statement read in part saying that the Commission strongly condemns the attack on Nakuru-based lawyers who peacefully protested against the disregard of court orders. We, that is JSC, note with dismay that police officers stood on guard and watched as the lawyers were attacked. Like we said, that's CJ Martha Koome. And in addition, she says the assailants have occupied the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital, defying court orders. And she said that the events at the hospital are regrettable. And the JSC is especially disturbed by the events at Nakuru County, where assailants have occupied the hospital, defying court orders. The statement continues. CJ Martha Koome says that the fact that judges have had to recuse themselves from handling the matter due to constant intimidation lowers the dignity of the court and affects the administration of justice. The JSC terms it a threat to the rule of law. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission clashed in court Friday as the latter opposed an application to terminate graft charges against former Kenya Pipeline Company Chief Executive Officer Charles Tanui. Margaret Kimathi has the story.
To support in achieving
the DPP applied to drop the charges against the former Kenya Pipeline Company Chief Executive Officer Charles Tanui alongside Josephat Kipkoech Sima and Elias Maina Karumi. But the anti-graft body in an oral application opposed the application, arguing that only one witness was remaining to testify. In EACC's view, the trial court was best placed to decide whether the accused persons were innocent or not. Senior Principal Magistrate Victor Wakumile agreed with the EACC submissions and dismissed ODPP's application to drop the charges. The anti-commission magistrate said the prosecutorial powers should be exercised judiciously with regard to public interest, and what the DPP sought to do is seeking to terminate the case at the tail end of the trial might be achieved after full hearing. The DPP, through Principal Prosecution Counsel Jeremiah Walusala, wanted to terminate the case, saying a review of the evidence and documents revealed that justice would be served by terminating the case. The charges against the former KPC officials allege that they failed to comply with the law relating to procurement by authorizing payment of about 40.3 million shillings to Redline Limited for 3 auto transformers on February 18, 2014. The charges stated that on February 18, 2014, at KPC's offices in industrial area, Mr. Tanui conferred a benefit to Redline Limited by authorizing payment of 1.3 million shillings over a tender for installation and commissioning of Line 2 station auto transformer. Mr. Sima was accused of preparing an inspection report which facilitated the irregular payment to the company. Margaret Kimathi, NTV.
The Kenyan shilling closed the trading day at an average of 142.91 units against the US dollar per the central bank's data, gaining 8.9% since the turn of the year as the local currency rallies on. The recent rally by the shilling is attributable to the fresh dollar inflows on the back of the issuance of new Eurobond that raised 1.5 billion US dollars, or just about 214 billion shillings, settling nerves around the maturity of Kenya's debut Eurobond that is due in June. Also, some of the fresh dollars have flowed into the recently issued infrastructure bond, whose auction closed on Wednesday. It has now emerged that President William Ruto has assembled a campaign machinery to pitch for the candidature of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party leader Raila Odinga, eyeing the continental boss job. The committee, financed through the Exchequer, has membership drawn from government and now set to rope in opposition nominees after Odinga accepted the endorsement to run for the Africa Union Commission post set for February 2025. NTV has established that Odinga had also done his groundwork across the continent before publicly declaring his interest. NTV's Vincent Odor tells us more.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leaders led by Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka have rallied behind Raila Odinga's bid for the top job at African Union Commission.
We fully support his decision and we shall back his candidature to our fullest capacity.
This even as it emerged that Odinga had remained secretive on his decision that even kept President William Ruto guessing. It is said that it is after Odinga engaged in lobbying across Africa and confirming where President Ruto had lobbied for him is when he decided to publicly announce his interest. All along, President Ruto had set up a team, largely including members from the cabinet, to do Odinga's bidding. Odinga's team is reported to be made up of members largely from the Azimio Executive Council. The state is reported to have committed to fund Odinga's shuttle diplomacy to seek support across Africa.
Mr. Odinga has played a crucial and selfless role in the democratization of our nation. His sacrifices towards achieving socio-economic development, inclusivity, and stability of our republic are well documented.
Hii nafasi Kenya imepata ni nafasi ya maana sana kwa area ya kiuchumi, kwa area ya mambo ya kijamii na kwa mambo ya kisiasa katika nchi zetu za Kiafrika.
If Odinga wins the seat, it will likely slow down his local political activities and force him to tone down on his criticism against the Kenya Kwanza administration, since the position requires him to have a good working relationship with presidents in Africa, including President Ruto.
Azimio remains focused and united on issues close to the people, and we give assurance of our commitment to always address their concerns.
President Ruto is expected in Addis Ababa this weekend for the African heads of state and government, where the agenda will include the chairmanship for AU Commission. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Now, Princess Zahra Aga Khan on Friday met First Lady Rachel Ruto in Nairobi to discuss opportunities for collaboration and mutual support in advancing various initiatives across Kenya. The Princess and the First Lady delved into a wide range of topics, including advancement of women's economic empowerment, healthcare and education. First Lady Rachel Ruto also shared insights from the various programs under her office. Princess Zahra Aga Khan is currently in Kenya for a 6-day visit to attend the global convocation ceremony of the Aga Khan University, where she is a trustee, and to visit various projects undertaken by the Aga Khan Development Network in the country. Now, you may have heard of a dog being called man's best friend. Some will argue that for them, it's a cat, or a parrot, or some other animal. Others, well, they would stick to humans. But for the animal lovers, it goes deep to death. When they lose their animals, grief sets in, and in honor of their beloved pets, they will offer formal funerals or heartfelt farewell rituals, including holding memorial meetings. These may not be widely publicized, so you may not easily get the images or videos, but they happen. Tonight, on our inaugural weekly lifestyle segment, This is Life, Velma Barasa takes us into the world of pet lovers, how they handle the funerals of their departed pets, the bonds they have with these animals, and more.
Cremation of a parrot, eating cake during meetings following death, or matanga if you like, to honor a dead cat, dog ashes in an urn, pet funerals, pet memorial services, dead pets transported in hearses to funeral homes, pet cremation, pet ashes stored in expensive urns. These, to some, may sound like ridiculous luxuries, unnecessary activities, being extra. Some may argue, but this is increasingly happening among Kenyans. But the death of a pet for some is a time of loss and grief. To them, it's a big deal. Some refer to themselves as pet parents or pet dads or moms.
Losing a pet felt like I lost actually a family member, because for us pets and dogs, for that matter, are part of the family.
Be it a dog, a cat, a horse, a parrot or some other animal, some pet lovers are going all out to take care of their beloved animals in life and in death, from pampering them with massages, grooming, high-end healthcare, and much more, to giving them decent final send-offs when they die. Celebrating their deceased fur babies with a farewell ceremony gives them an opportunity to honor their pets as well as deal with the grief.
Losing Helsinki was really tough for us. Like, we've lost other pets before, but it was especially hard with Helsinki. It was so hard because she was perfectly healthy. Hakuna kitu mbaya ilikuwa, hakuna kitu mbaya yenye walikuwa wanaona yenye maybe, you know, the dog is sick, maybe we are expecting something. So it was difficult for us.
High five, Coco, high five. Losing a dog for us was devastating because dogs to us are part of the family. When we decided to get Coco and Bobo, it was a family venture. We looked at the dogs that we want. We chose to settle for a German Shepherd. We even identified the family where we'll get them. Coco was the firstborn, Bobo was at the back, and we all loved them from the moment we were sent for photos.
Now, different pet parents grieve in different ways. Some are choosing to cremate their pet or pets and spread the ashes somewhere special, in the ocean, on a hill, and so on. Others keep the pet hair or ashes on a shelf in the house as a memento.
Some people do plant a tree in honor of their pet. Wengine wana keep fur ama nail clippings. I find that to be really weird. Okay, we have another. This is Miss Ginger. Ginger, say hi.
Then there are pet funerals. People are traveling up country, just as they would if a relative died, to bury their dearly departed pets and hold a funeral service with family and close friends.
When we lost Helsinki, before we used to just leave it up to the vets. You know, if you don't know what to do, normally you just go to the vets and you tell them to just handle that for you. But with Helsinki, we wanted to make it a little bit special. So Tulim transport back home, and we had just a small funeral service with family members.
You can actually dispose your dog at Kabete Vet something. So you pay a figure, they come pick the dog, they will go preserve it for some time, then they will take it for the burial, and that's how we did it. We didn't go physically for the burial, we did the procedure at home.
Now, what one does with their pet's body depends on their personal preferences, as well as the laid out regulations. Some will lay their pets' remains to rest at cemeteries with epitaphs and messages to boot. A growing number of Kenyans are taking their dead pets to funeral homes and then they're buried in a cemetery. Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi is among those offering alternative send-offs for pets. The charges range from 30,000 shillings to 65,000 shillings depending on the size of the pet.
So when a pet passes away, we get called and we send a vehicle, a pet ambulance. So once the pet is been collected, the cremation will either happen immediately or the next day in a pet incinerator. The process takes between an hour to an hour and a half. Then once the incinerator is cooled down, we take the ashes out and they get processed, yeah? And then we put them in an urn, in a pet urn. So either a small, large, medium size, depending on pet.
About 2 years ago, Lee identified a gap and set up a unit that comes complete with a hearse, different from those used for human beings.
Huwa kuna special ambulance, which is this one in front of me. We just get it to the owner's house, and always, most cases, they prefer us to take the pet with a bed which normally sleeps on.
Pet owners may also opt for aquamation, a more environmentally friendly way of disposing of human or pet remains using alkaline water, a similar burial practice to what the anti-apartheid hero, the late Desmond Tutu, went through. In the US, aquamation of a dead pet can cost from $550, which is nearly 80,000 shillings at an exchange rate of 145 shillings to the dollar, depending on the size. There are different circumstances under which pets lose their lives.
Death, I'd say death of animals is different. Not really different, but there is sudden death and there is now the unexpected one when a dog maybe gets to old age or is diagnosed with a disease that can't be cured, or now when they get cancers that are non-reversible. When an owner has had their pet for maybe 10, 11, 12 years, sometimes even up to 16 years, and the dog now starts having issues, like let's say they are not able to function as they previously used, they are not able to eat, so the owner has to now consider putting the dog down, humanely of course, through euthanasia. And sometimes now that is the death that it's something that is unexplainable.
When you speak to the pet lovers, you get the sense that the death of the animals can be a very difficult conversation to have. And their own admission, and that of others involved in the pet's lives, health and death, is that it's important to mourn a pet properly, including going for counseling. All said and done, for those who have these special bonds with their animals, the funerals are more than just saying goodbye. They're about celebrating the bond they shared with their departed companions and finding comfort in the memories. Some people may not think as much. They may wonder, why the fuss? But this is one of those situations where the diversity of preferences, bonds, and more plays out. And this is life. Velma Baraza, NTV.
This is life. I wonder, are you one of those who would, like those people in the story there done by Velma Baraza, give that kind of a send-off to your pets? There are some people who I know here would be the ones who will name their dogs Bosco or Gui or Biko or something like that, and they will just throw them in a trench somewhere. You can see life is different for different people. Good stuff, Velma. We take a short break, but coming up. National Treasury proposes budget cuts in a bid to rationalize spending.
Na mawe ishaanza kumwagwa. Title deed ndio hii. Jishindie shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings. Lori za mawe na mchanga. Dial star 570 hash. Chase the lucky game.
Mortein Doom, with its trusted formulation, it provides protection in seconds. So spread the Mortein Doom message of how we, you and I, can fight to end malaria.
Mortein Doom, Kenya's #1 choice.
This is the best serum I've ever used.
9 out of 10 agree Garnier Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum is the best they've used. Our highest concentration of derm actives.
Made my skin tone more even. Brightens up my skin with an instant glow.
Bye-bye, dark marks. Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum. 9 out of 10 agree it's the best serum they've used. By Garnier, naturally.
To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways. And Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Now introducing the new 125-gram Dettol soap at only 200 shillings.
Good evening. It is time for business news, and my name is Nina Shaban. The National Treasury has proposed 78.6 billion shillings in budget cuts for the fiscal year ending on the 30th of June as part of the Exchequer's efforts to rationalize spending. Now, the proposal contained in the new budget documents from the Exchequer is set to bring down the overall budget for the year 2023-2024 by 1.9% to 3.902 trillion shillings from 3.981 trillion shillings approved in the first supplementary budget. Recurrent expenditure has been projected to dip by 33.8 billion shillings to 2.76 trillion, while interest payments on domestic and external debt are projected to stand at 892.8 billion shillings, down from 918.8 billion shillings previously. Now, spending on development is expected to take a larger hit as the Exchequer sets a reduction of 44.8 billion shillings, pointing to reduced government spending on infrastructure projects such as roads for the remainder of the fiscal year. And other proposed budget cuts align with the National Treasury fiscal policy, which is premised on maintaining a narrow fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP. Even as consumption of fuel dropped by 5% in the months ended December 2023, the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA collected an estimated 25.9 billion shillings more in fuel taxes. Now, the figure is based on the official fuel consumption figures that show KRA collected an estimated 164.03 billion shillings in fuel taxes between July and December last year, up from 139.08 billion shillings in the same period in 2022. Consumption dropped in the wake of the increased prices, with 2.28 billion litres of petrol, diesel and kerosene used in the period compared to 2.4 billion litres consumed in the second half of 2022. The jump in tax collections came at a time when the National Assembly voted to double value-added tax on petrol, diesel and kerosene to 16% effective July last year, sending pump prices beyond 200 shillings per litre. Prices of fuel have since dropped, with petrol being the only fuel whose price per litre is above 200 shillings in Nairobi.
50, 40.
In a bid to enable electromobility in Kenya, private sector players have come up with innovative battery swapping model for border riders in Kenya to plug when moving. Autopax Kenya, an electric vehicle manufacturer, has partnered with Kotha, a sustainable energy solutions company based in Ghana, to start up an electric motorcycle assembly and distribution plant in the country that will be critical to navigate the Kenyan terrain. Kenya hopes to fully transition into e-mobility, and recharge points and affordability are most critical in the e-mobility uptake.
Here is firstly to make battery swapping easy, which we've done. So in the motorcycle, the batteries are very easily swapped in the swap stations. It's a simple experience for customers, which is quite central to us thinking through how customers engage. They're very used to doing fuel at a pump, and we want to make the experience as simple and as easy as that.
As we know, Kenya has about 80% renewable energy to produce electricity. So this will allow for us to be more autonomous, to reduce the costs of our nation and be able to deploy this money in other areas. And so this is just a benefit for the government, but for us as individuals, as the KOFA team has mentioned, we will be able to save the client, the rider, a lot more to be able to achieve further. As we mentioned,
Business News has come to an end. My name is Nina Shaban, wishing you a lovely night. Do not go anywhere. Dan Wangi will be back with more news.
Nini? Imagine Lotomoto ukicheza na 30 bob una stand a chance to win shake ya 1.1 million. Na ukicheza na 50 bob unaweza get shake na lori za mawe na mchanga.
Sasa wacha hiyo. Ukicheza na 50 bob kwa website yao, imagine unaweza angukia matri mpya.
Chance yako ya business ndio hii, na ushindi ni 5th of May. Cheza Lucky Game kwa www.ebet.co.ke na uvuke na free.
Causing germs by 99.5%. One product, 3 uses for a pure skin. Garnier Pure Active 3-in-1 Charcoal, #1 in South Africa, by Garnier Naturally.
Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Get a cancer cover from as low as 750 bob per month. Na pia, ukiwa admitted Hosi, unapata chapa daily. For each day hauko hustle, for as low as 1,250 bob per month. Unangoja nini? Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Visit today na ujipange na life.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, as we come to a close, as always, we want to make you smile. But even before we get there, 2 days ago, it was Valentine's Day. Now, beyond all that, and after all the fluff and sweet nothings, or some would say the mushiness and sweet everythings, some things remain, such as the relationship between love and money. Is there a balance? What considerations are there when getting into a relationship in the context of money? This is the matter before our news court, which is coming at 9:35 p.m. tonight, right after this bulletin, and here is a sneak peek.
Your Honor, this man is my ticket to my financial freedom.
Kila mtu akona standard yake. Wewe unaweza kuwa na milioni moja lakini msichana anataka milioni, mtu wa milioni 2, milioni 3. So
if you're a girl and you're looking for a financially stable man, please also come stable.
I was looking at her and I was thinking, will she respect me because now I'm not working?
I had to preserve his dignity. Even when we were struggling without food, my family never got to know.
Yangu ilifanya nini? Ilianguka. Changamoto ambayo ilikuwa kwetu ni mapato.
Is there a balance in love and cash? You be the judge. Now, to close this bulletin on a fairly light note, and we have Lucia Njeru, who's a mother of a child whose person with disability was among the elderly, PWDs and other vulnerable at Mararu Market on Valentine's Day, that is in the county of Embu, when they received Valentine gifts from the Embu woman representative, that's Njoki Njeru. And aside from that, she spoke about her experience with Valentine, or the lack of it, and what her plans were. Listen to her.
Ninasikianga Valentine, lakini leo nimeona Valentine ni siku ya furaha na sijaonyeshwa furaha yoyote na mtu tangu nisaliwe. Ni leo tu nimepata Valentine na nikaona nimepewa hii ua na ndapo N mwezi mmoja. Leo nikifika nyumbani leo hii nitakwenda nionyeshe bwanangu mapenzi ya Valentine. I love you, my dear sweetheart. Ngena mwagi.
What a lovely way to end the bulletin. Thank you for joining us on NTV Weekend Edition. But after this break, we go to News Court, which shall be running every Friday, 9:35 p.m. My name is Dan Mwangi, and alongside me tonight has been David Agondoa on the sign language interpretation. Have yourselves a great weekend.
Fomi Kijipa, Mimi Nani. Now it's time to get extreme ice fresh. Ukiwa fresh all day, una stay fresh all night. Niki step onto the scene, na nikiona painting, shajua rada. Hona bro, be a boss man, be your own man. Ukiwa your own man, unakaa fiti na una smell even better. Be your own man with new Vossman Extreme Ice.
Jenny, what are you up to at this time?
I'm just doing this for my friends at school who do not have lunch.
You should have told me.
When your kids learn from you, you're giving them a great start. Prestige Margarine. It all starts with a great start. Now comes in the original and vanilla flavor.
Although the cause of cervical cancer is not well understood, 99.7% is caused by the human papillomavirus. HPV is a sexually transmitted infection affecting 80% of all women by age 50 years. The National Cancer Institute is accelerating action towards elimination of cervical cancer to reach targets 90-70-90 by 2030, as per the recommendation of the World Health Organization, WHO. Take your girls aged 9 to 15 years for vaccination against HPV, and screening is recommended for all women who are sexually active and targets those aged 25 to 49 years. The National Cancer Institute Kenya, towards a cancer-free nation.
When your kids bond with you, you're giving them a great start. Prestige Margarine. It all starts with a great start. Now comes in the original and vanilla flavor.
Dr. Jane Kimani has been married for 24 years and is a counseling psychologist with a PhD, an international humanitarian chaplain, and a counseling services consultant. She and her husband, Dr. Julius Kimani, who is also a counseling psychologist with a PhD, an international humanitarian chaplain, will be sharing with this court the journey of their marriage in a context of love and money. William Getumbe, a resident of Kapsoya in Uasin Gishu County, says his first wife opted out of marriage, and one of the contributing factors was unmet financial expectations. He is, however, now remarried with 4 children and shares his experience with this court. Purity Wakahio is a financial wellness coach. She is the lead trainer at FinFit Consults, which she founded. She is also the founder of various other businesses: Urban Drive Autos, Urban Stitches and Fabrics, Faircoat Insurance Agency. She is an author who has written Liquid Ways to Invest Your Money in Kenya and 70 Realities and Rules of Running a Successful Business. She gives us insight from the financial dynamic of this matter. Wanjiro Mbogori is a clinical mental health therapist, a children and adolescent therapist, as well as an addiction therapist. She shares with this court the psychological dynamic of the matter before it.
My lords and ladyships, News Court is in session, and as always, you are the judge. 'Tis the season, 'tis the month where they say love is in the air. And this News Court session is on the air about love and its relationship with money. A relationship that some would put as a complicated one. Is it really complicated? What is the balance, if any, between a money-centered relationship and one that acknowledges that money may not be everything, but is a significant factor? Let's prosecute. This court now invites the Dr. Julius and Jane Kimani. On an overall, how important is money to your relationship?
Money is important because money is a tool. It's like the way you say you have your car breaks down and you can't open the screws with your fingers. Yeah. It will take forever, or you may never be able to do it. So you will need a spanner to do it. It's a tool that helps you to accomplish something. So money is important in a relationship, especially for a man as a provider. You've got to have it, because the responsibility of provision, you can't provide just by saying I love you.
But women also provide nowadays.
They do. They assist. But as a man, I say it is important for you to have that mentality that you are the one who is called to be the provider. There are situations that you may not have. That does not make you not loving, but money enhances your ability to be a provider.
Dr. Jane, from your own experience,
yes,
what has the money journey been for your marriage?
For us, it's a long journey, because when you got married, he was okay, he was working, I was doing my business, but then he lost his job while we were in courtship. And so my business also kind of like stopped while we were in courtship. And one thing I'll say, we went through a lot. I can tell you, I hoped ties. Because you know what? Your certificate will not bring food to the table. not only hawking ties to cause omena. We've done a lot, anything righteous. And the beautiful thing, and that's what I advise women, my parents never got to know. Even while we were struggling without food, my family never got to know. And I keep saying this, I had to preserve his dignity.
All right. And for you, how was it at the time when, you know, you came from having a lot to not having as much?
No, it actually destabilizes you. I got so destabilized because I was like, I was looking at her and I was thinking, will she respect me because now I'm not working? Will she respect me because now I'm not driving the company car? And it was an internal battle within me. And I usually tell the men, you come to a place where you have to be defined not by the work that you do, but by the person you are. I had to come to a place of discovery where I was like, I'm a man because I'm a man. And there is something that I can provide beyond the money. I also took the responsibility. Sometimes as men, we find like where you are the head of the home, then you're not supposed to do anything. So in the beginning, there was a struggle because I would sit in the house. She has gone out, comes back, brings some food, and I have taken tea in the house and I kept all the cups in the sink. I have eaten some little stuff and I've kept the plate in the sink. Because I was feeling like as a man, I should not be doing any of those stuff. But I began to do it. I would see the frustration. So I began to do the cleaning up. And she would come back home and she would be happy and smiling. And I realized my fingers were not getting shorter. So I usually tell the man, a time may come when you don't have a job. Don't let that make you less than a man. Do what you can do in the house. Let that woman, let it be easy for her.
Dr. Jane, it seems you went against the notion of what is mine, what is yours is ours. Did you feel uncomfortable being the one who has to be chipping in terms of financially, significantly in this relationship?
You know, I understand one thing, that a wife is a helpmeet, underlining the word help. And so the minute you say mine is mine, yours is ours, you put a division and a separation in your finances, and you're not able to plan together. So the little we had would still plan for it and would work whatever we needed, would sit and budget. It wasn't much, would budget and plan over the little we had. A lot of marriages where money is not married, it will never birth. Man will always birth when the visions are married. And I don't mean that all your money should come to a pool. At least a certain percentage of money should be yours for your own use. But a certain percentage should be for the growth of the common vision. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't easy. I would never lie and say it was easy because my expectations, since growing, you get married and everything is taken care of. And,
they say baby girl. Where do we draw the line between this thing of love and marriage? Because there's a point where when you talk about the vision, some may not understand the concept of vision.
Yeah.
They will say, e-vision haitalipa bills.
The foundation of the relationship has not to be money. Because if you focus on what the person has, for example, if a lady is focusing on what the guy has, that can be affected. You know, anything that is physical is temporary, so it can disappear. But the thing is, I'll give an example. There are many people who don't have jobs today, and they probably go and shack with a friend. What are they doing? They are selling a vision. They are telling that guy, hey, I'll get a job and I will sort you out. So they are still communicating something that is the future. When I talk about vision, it's not something that you are laying down on the table and you're saying we are going to build 10 houses or 50 houses. We are saying that aspect of creating hope. A man has got to have a small picture, even if it's kadogo tu, kakuonyesha tomorrow there will be a change.
Justice Wanjiko, these are some of the dynamics in this matter that is before you.
Your Honor, is money too small an issue to warrant ignoring it? Some have lost relationships citing the lack of finances. My submissions to this court.
Jina langu ni William Getumbe, Mama yangu na babangu watu wanafanya kazi ya Mungu. Na kwa hivyo katika maisha yangu yote nimeishi maisha ya kumjua Mungu na kukua katika kanisani. Ndoa yangu ya kwanza ilifanyika years ya 2008. Ni baada ya kusafiri katika nchi nyingi, nikienda huku na kule nikihubiri, na kisha nikaamua kusettle down hapa Eldoret. Ndio sikuwa tajiri sana na sikuwa maskini, singesema sina. Na at the very same time singesema ya kwamba niko nayo. Kwa sababu si kama saa hizi vile niko na gari, labda niko na shamba, niko na vitu zangu, niko na studio, labda niko na foundation. Hapana, yuko nyuma ilikuwa ngumu kabisa. Nikawa nimeanzisha kanisa hapa Eldoret. Katika lile kanisa sisi wenyewe ndio tulikuwa na support lile kanisa. Hatukuwa na members ambao walikuwa na support kanisa. Kweli changamoto nyingi ilitokea. Changamoto ambayo ilikuwa kwetu ni mapato, support, kwa sababu kanisa ilikuwa inatutegemea sisi, kila kitu ilikuwa sisi wenyewe. Na mimi mwenyewe pesa ambazo nilikuwa napata, labda wa marafiki wazungu wangu, marafiki zangu wazungu wa Afrika, kila mtu alikuwa anapea support. Ilikuwa inaenda wapi? Kanisani. Na pia kidogo ilikuwa inaenda wapi? Kwa boma. Lakini kuna zile expectation ambayo watu huwa nazo katika kila ndoa. Unaweza ingia katika kila ndoa, na ukiingia katika ndoa ama ukiwa mnapendana, kila mtu ako na expectation zake. Na mtu mwingine hawezi kuambia expectation zangu ni za aina hii. Lakini katika hiyo ndoa ya kwanza, kitu ambacho nilijifunza nacho ni expectation ambacho watu wako nazo ni very weighed and very different. I was completely broken. My lowest moment ilikuwa hiyo wakati, kwa sababu hiyo ndoa nilikuwa nimejaribu kuiponyesha katika njia zozote. Kama ni romance nilizifanya, kama ni massage nilizifanya, lakini jamani, bado ndoa yangu ilifanya nini? Ilianguka. Na kama ni kumnunulia vitu zuri na kujinyima, nilizifanya zote. So it was my most desperate moment. One, I was a pastor. So you can imagine what people were talking in Eldoret. Two, ikaenda kotini. Ilipofika kotini, watu walinicheka kwa sababu it was actually the first most publicized divorce in Eldoret. Ikanivunjia kanisa, ikaniharibia kanisa. Ministry ambayo nimejenga kwa muda mrefu. Vitu vingi vinasema ambavyo si vya kweli. So mimi niliumia sana. Kwanza kanisa lilivunjika, mpaka ukiuliza watu, mimi nitaenda kwa nini niende kwa nyumba ambayo imevunjika? Lakini yule mwenzangu alijua shida yake ni nini. Mapenzi yake yalikuwa ya nini? Yeye alikuwa na mtoto. Alikuwa na mtoto. Lakini mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nateseka, sikuwa na mtoto. So ningeonyeshaje kwamba nazaa? Si kama saa hizi niko na watoto 4. Watu wanasema kweli ndio hawa. Kwa hivyo huku nje kuna expectation tofauti. Naweza kuambia kweli kuna true love. I've experienced true love, true emotional support, physical support ya kila aina, saina experience.
Nothing further, my lords and ladyships, I rest.
This court seeks to hear the voice of data for further context into the matter at hand. Now, an American organization called the National Financial Educators Council carried out a survey between January 25th and January 26th, 2022 on love and money, where 1,200 respondents were asked, who can you comfortably talk with about your personal finances? Here are the results. 21.3% said they would do so with their romantic partner. 11% said they'd do so with their parents or guardians. 9.7% their siblings or extended family. 6.8% their friends or co-workers. And the majority, 51.2%, said none of this. Now, another question was asked, and this was more of completing a sentence. Talking about money with my partner in my most recent romantic relationship was, 23.7% say it was very easy. 7.6% somewhat easy. 11.9% neither easy nor difficult. 6.9% somewhat difficult. 8.2% very difficult. 41.8% said it was not applicable to them. Your Honor, it is befitting that this court looks into what the personal finance dynamics to this matter are. For professional insight on this court invites Purity Wakahio to the dock. What are some of the things that you've noticed when it comes to relationships and money?
It's easier to be talking about physical fitness, maybe your health, but not money. And the truth is many people are not ready to speak about money, but luckily, people are getting out and saying, I want to know what I do with my money. I want to know where to invest my money. So it's a conversation that is ongoing, and things are getting better.
Are we seeing more people being deliberate about figuring out their finances in light of their relationships?
We are actually not preparing enough, because you'll come across a 23-year-old who just finished her law degree here at Riara University, and she wants a financially stable guy. This financially stable guy should be driving a Range Rover Vogue 2023 model. So where did this guy get money to buy a Range Rover, and you are 23 and you do not have? So the thing is, the conversations around money is how far should we do what we are doing, especially for young people. I'm thinking, if you don't sit down and decide how much will you spend on your beauty, which is expensive, by the way, beauty is very expensive these days, that will interfere with your marriage even when you have children, because you'll be deciding, my child should go to Blue House as a woman, for example, and the man is saying, no, I can only afford a school that is paying 100,000, and that can actually cause a marriage to break.
Are we seeing many people preferring to involve their significant others in planning their money? I
think there are. People have become very deliberate about money. And it's only in Africa, maybe in Kenya, where we literally think about money as the man only who should be thinking about money and deciding what should be done with money. Women are increasingly coming up and saying, this is what I think. Even if you are actually a housewife, you have a right to sit with your husband and have a conversation about, it is his money, but it's actually the family's money. Now, when you get married, like the counselors have said, there's nothing like your money, you're earning more than me. There's nothing like that. It's no longer a competition. It's about our resources. You do not actually need to just open what we call a joint account for you to be said you're doing well financially or you're planning well. You can actually have separate accounts, but you're conscious about the money decisions that you're making.
Would you advise people who are not married to invest together?
No. That one is a no. Because unless you're just investing as partners, no more Kenyans, you go to a lawyer and have an agreement, a proper agreement. Because you see, marriage itself is already an agreement. It's binding as it is. But if you're not married, what is the contract there? So I would say if you have to invest together, just treat each other like partners, business partners, that's fine.
Thank you very much, Purity. You may have your seat.
Thank you.
Your Honor, could these issues of money and relationships have a psychological dynamic to them? If so, how? We now call Wanjiro Mbogori to the stand. For people who are looking to have lasting relationships, what are some of the things they need to consider in light of love and money?
It's very good to have a conversation about what you are planning. The visions, we've talked about visions, we've heard about visions this morning. Those visions are very important. Like, just as I would say to an individual, do you journal? Do you have goals? Like, do you set short-term goals, long-term goals, medium-term goals, long-term goals? As a couple, it's very important to do that. Sit before marriage and say, these are the goals, these are what we would like. Because one may think, first thing we must save for is a house. The other is thinking, no, we must have children, or we must have this. So when you get into the marriage without knowing what your partner or partner-to-be is thinking, you are bound to clash. You are bound then to start fighting about this or that or the other. Or because we haven't discussed it, I may sit there and think, my husband, once we're married, he'll start buying a house. That is what is important to me. It's probably not what is important to him, because he's probably looking at different things.
Does the value placed on money speak to the values or personality of an individual?
Yes, because...
And how so?
Somebody who is so set on money may have come from a place of lack as they were growing up. There are people who grew up with very tight-fisted parents. So even to ask for something simple that, say, school was asking for would be a thing that you would get punished for, or a thing that, you know, would bring on this whole lecture about, don't you know, money doesn't grow on trees, or money doesn't, you know, there is no conversation. So that kind of person grows up thinking, when I have my money, I will hold on to it. And that, you know, doesn't work in a relationship where maybe the other person has come from a place where, yes, they may not have had money, they may not have grown up in a money family, but at least there were conversations around it. So some of these things, then there is the one who really also came from luck, total luck. And then they're looking at the person they're thinking of marrying as a person with money or who's come from money. So what they get into it thinking, now my freedom, my financial freedom is vested in this person. Woe to them if that person doesn't even have the money that they look like they do, because then the fights begin.
For those who may be in a relationship, how should we handle this dynamic? Because sometimes you find the guy had money, now he doesn't, and it does a number on him. He's probably slipping into depression, but she's telling him, get up and be a man.
And I think that starts off from where you already have this thing about, this man is my ticket to my financial freedom. This man should be the one. Because yes, there are people who will think in terms of, now it's my money, so you get up, go and work. But how did they begin? How did they come there? What did they know about each other from that time on? This friendship thing is not a big, is something that causes people to understand one another first. But if you married somebody because either you are marrying somebody because you think they have money, you're marrying people because you don't want to live, for us girls, you get to 30 and you start thinking, except now, I think girls are a little bit more educated. You start thinking, I'm going over the hill. So the first guy that proposes, you marry. You don't know them. You don't know who they are. You don't know what kind of person there is. And it also, the families also come in and changia and start saying things like, "Ay, Sasa, this useless guy, what are you doing with him?" So it's good for people to look at the backgrounds. I think that's my bottom line. That would help remove this.
They say love is a beautiful thing. Some add the beauty is seen when it comes with catching. Catching feelings is easier when there's no cabling. Cashing in on the place of money, is that a bad thing? Some will say roses are red, violets are blue. Yet others, pockets in the red, you'll see violence and blues, meaning less affection, less attention, stress and tension. Will your relationship get to pension? But to what extent should money matter? Is it less of love if your daily bread has no honey, butter? Or is it about making that bread, honey, and butter together? The stuff that makes a guy value the process he went through to get her, and the lady, the process from behold him to when she holds him, being there through the stuff that molds him, and them. And then, is it that some beliefs hold us back? Or do they shield us from lack or from flack? But like they say, will we eat love, or will you share your love story to your landlords? Will you use your highly liked picture to pay bills, or testimonials of your couple goals at the point of your number, your pay bill? Is there a balance in love and cash? You be the judge. New Spot.